And WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. It's me and you for two. Those are the rules of engagement. It's the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio, and we are doing it coast to coast today as I am coming to you live from San Francisco, where tonight the 2026 Major League Baseball season will start when the Yankees take on the San Francisco Giants. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the pomp and circumstance of opening day. It's a little bit different than it used to be when we were growing up, where you knew opening day was always going to be an afternoon game hosted by the Cincinnati Reds. They would have a parade through town, but it has changed. A lot has changed. And this game will be tonight the first Major League Baseball game ever telecasted on Netflix. Yep, that's right. If you want to see the Yankees against the Giants tonight, it is indeed on Netflix. Now, I don't go as crazy about this as everybody else. Now, on a personal level, of course I'm disappointed. It stinks. Yes, would love to have the game. I mean, that's what we do. We don't want to have the highest profile games taken away by the national streamers or the national broadcast with NBC and ESPN, but let's look at the realities of life, everybody. Netflix is paying a lot of money for this, for the Field of Dreams game, and for the Home Run Derby at the All-Star game. So are they going to pick a game that's not desirable to people? They're going to pick the Yankees or the Dodgers. So they chose the Yankees. Last year, ESPN had the right to do the opener. And what did they do? They chose the Yankees and Milwaukee. So I hear everybody's disappointment. I read about it on social media. We want the team that we listen to all year be the team that broadcasts the first game of the year. It's really, it makes you feel great that, we are part of your enjoyment of the New York Yankees. But if you're one of these streamers that's paying an awful lot of money, you're going to take the Yankees. The Yankees are a brand. The Yankees are an international brand. You can walk anywhere in the world, and you're going to find somebody wearing the Yankees midnight blue cap with the white interlocking NY. So is it disappointing that I'm not doing the game with David Cohn and Meredith tonight? Of course it is. But it's not about me. It's not about me. Now, it should be about you. And if you have a subscription to The Athletic, you got to read the long story that Andrew Marchand did today. I think you've got to join or pay for 8 different networks or streamers if you want to watch 162 Yankee games. And that is, in fact, unfair to older fans, people that don't have much money, fixed income fans. It's tough. But I understand capitalism. I understand Rob Manfred is entrusted to get the most money for the owners. Now, when they say, it's for the good of the fans and stuff like that, it's for the money. And we all have to understand that. But Andrew's story in The Athletic was interesting in that we all used to complain, right, about how expensive the cable bundle was. Well, the cable bundle is like shopping at Kohl's now. While if you get every streaming service that broadcasts sports and you want to see every football game, every basketball game, every baseball game, every soccer game, and every hockey game, you know what? It's going to cost way more than the cable bundle. And I have always predicted this over the last 15 years, that sooner or later, there's going to be a streaming bundle. And that's what they're working toward. They just are. Because right now, let's say that there's a lot of games being played, and your team, like you're watching the Yankees, and that's the day, it's a Wednesday, the Yankees are on Amazon, right? And you want to switch back and forth to the Met game or any other game. It takes forever. It's hard to navigate. And I know Prime is trying to get all of those streaming services under their one tent, and then it becomes easier to navigate. There's got to be an easier way. I get it. I understand it. But I do also understand the economics of it. Yeah, they're going to continue to pay players the kind of money they're paying them. They're going to create the revenue somewhere, either charging you more for tickets or charging more for streaming services, or getting big, contracts from streaming services. That's just the way it is. And I hate to say it. Now, we are going to have a taste of yes tonight, because from 7 to 8 Eastern, we're going to have a live pregame show. The guys back in the studio, Bob and Jack, and I'll be with Meredith on the field at Oracle Park, and we'll tell you everything you need to know. We'll get you set up for the Netflix broadcast. So that's the situation. It's the reality of it. People are unhappy about it. I hear it. I understand it. But I understand both sides. I really do. Because a lot of people make sports out to be, a national trust. It's a business. It's a business. We try to wrap it in to, the warmth of, it's only right to do what, for the fan. It's a business. Everyone who owns one of the 30 teams is looking to make money, looking to make more money. And Rob Manfred, for the good of the game clause and all that nonsense, he's entrusted with one thing: make us the most money you can make us. So when he says things, we're doing it, this is all for the fan, they're doing it to make the owners the most money. That's what Goodell does, that's what Silver does, and that's what Bettman does. That's just the way it's done. And sometimes we don't want to agree with that, sometimes we don't want to embrace it, but that is in fact the case. So that's the business aspect of it. Let's talk about the baseball aspect of it. What do you expect? And we'll talk about the Mets too, but the Yankees are starting tonight. The Mets, also a game that's not being broadcast by SNY. So Gary, Ron, and Keith will not be broadcasting the first game of the Mets season. It's just the way it is. It's going to be on NBC or Peacock. And so both New York teams, the opening game, will not have the networks that cover them do the game. Just as a little bit of a warning. But the Yankees, in a lot of the projection sites, are the team that's expected to come out of the American League. But I took a deep dive into the projection sites today and getting ready for the show, and it's not as dominant as we thought, as Vegas has put it. Vegas has the Yankees projected to win like 94 games, much more than any other team in the American League. That's not the case with Pacoda, okay? Pacoda, they run projections for a 162-game season. They have the Yankees winning 88.6 games. They have Toronto winning 88, so right behind the Yankees. They have Baltimore at 83.3. They have Tampa Bay at 83, and they have Boston at 82.9. I don't get that. They have the Yankees projected to make the playoffs, 73.1% chance to make the playoffs. Now, as for the Mets, Pacoda has them at 89.4 and a 72.8% chance to make the playoffs. Atlanta is projected at 88.7 and Philadelphia at 84.9. Now, I do not agree with those numbers at all. Atlanta doesn't have a pitching staff right now. 3 of their top starters are out. How do you project them to win 88.7 and Philadelphia 84.9? Now, the other major projection site is Fangraphs. And Fangraphs projects the Yankees to win 88.6, Boston to win 85, Toronto 84.8, the Orioles 83.6, and Tampa Bay 79.7. In the National League East, they have the Mets at 89.8, they have Atlanta at 89.4, and Philadelphia at 88. Again, the projection sites, they're projecting a little bit weird when it comes to Atlanta. Do you see that their starters are not healthy? No Schellenbach, no Strider. Their starters are hurt. So I don't quite understand how their projections are as close to the Mets. I mean, I look at the National League East, and I say, you know what? The Mets are going to be battling the Phillies. And I look at Atlanta with all their injuries to be battling the Marlins for third place in the National League East. But these two major projection sites, which are very respectable, they have Atlanta and the Mets neck and neck. I don't get it. Now, Keith Law of the Athletic really knows his stuff. He has the Yankees at 91 wins, the Orioles at 89, Red Sox at 87, Toronto at 85, Tampa Bay at 75. He has the Mets at 94 wins, Philadelphia at 90, and Atlanta at 83. Now, I got to tell you, that to me seems more reasonable than the projection sites, because what Keith is doing is he's taking Atlanta's pitching problems into account, and he's giving them 83 wins. And now I don't particularly agree that, Toronto would be in fourth place, but Toronto's pitching is in bad shape too. They've got a lot of their big-time pitchers on the IL. Yasavich, IL. Barrios, IL. I mean, those are important people that are on the IL. So you just don't dismiss that. You can't dismiss it. And they've got, people that have to prove themselves that are they going to be good enough? Ponce, who pitched in Korea. They gave him a lot of money to Dylan Cease. Is he going to be good enough? Gosman's in the last year of his contract, maybe the last year of his career. How's he going to rebound after a really good season last year, but pitching a lot of innings? A lot of innings. Shane Bieber, also on the IL. So 3 of their starters projected in their 5-man rotation are out. So what Keith is doing, he's looking at that, and he's bringing them down. He's looking at Atlanta, and he's bringing them down. So I get that. So that gets you set up with the way it's looked at. 1-800-919-3776. Now, I look at the Yankees, and we'll talk about them first. And I see a very, very good team. I see a team that is going to have a battle in the American League East, because I think the American League East is the strongest division in all of baseball. From 1 to 5, they're really good teams. A lot of people dismiss Tampa Bay. I never do. I've seen that play before. I've seen that act before. They find a way. They have a creative front office, and they find a way. Will they find a way this year? Well, if you have to project them, you probably say they're the 5th best team in the American League East. But don't tell me that they're not good enough that they couldn't get a wild card. I look at the Red Sox. The Red Sox are a team to me, doesn't have a lot of power. I mean, they don't have a player on the team that's projected to hit 20 home runs. I think that's ridiculous. I think Roman Anthony is going to hit 20 home runs. And we'll see with the rest of the team. Their infield, it's different. Meyer's going to be at second. Durbin's going to be at short. Contreras at first. Story is at shortstop. Contreras is at first. The outfield's good. They have probably too many outfielders, and their pitching is excellent. Their pitching is excellent. I look at the Orioles. The Orioles have done a lot of good things. They've gotten Shane Baz, Bassett. They're going to have a full season of a couple of starters that struggled last year. So I look at that, and I said, that's important too. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be a bear. I think Toronto is very good. I do not, and this will make me persona non grata when it comes to our friends in Toronto. I don't think they're as good as last year. You don't lose Bo Bichette and replace him with a question mark and say, oh, yeah, they're going to be as good. Bo Bichette really can hit. That's a big, big person out of the lineup. Santander's out for the whole year. He didn't contribute much anyway last year. Springer is a year older. And their starting pitching, as I mentioned, at the start of the season, a little banged up. So when you look at the Yankees, I think they're the most complete team in the American League East. Their lineup is set. They led the majors in runs scored last year. They led the majors in home runs last year. Judge has won 2 MVPs in a row. We've had a spring training where we've seen Giancarlo Stanton be healthy starting the season, active this year. Remember last year he had such problems with the elbows. He missed the first 2 months of the season. And then when he did come back, he put some of his best numbers up, numbers that compared to the 59 home run season that he had when he won the MVP with the Marlins. Ben Rice, a year older, he's got the first base job. The outfield is set. And Austin Wells, I think, could have a bounce-back year. Offensively, he's a very good defensive player. Pitching-wise, when Cole comes back and Rodon comes back, their starting staff is as good as anybody's. Now, they're going to start with a 4-man staff, and Luis Hill was sent down to the minor leagues. Rather than have him be a piggyback, they'll go with three. They'll go with the 3 guys they were unsure of in the bullpen, and they'll have Hill stretched out starting at AAA. And then when push comes to shove, if Weathers doesn't do well or somebody stumbles, they could call up Hill. But I will tell everybody this. Hill could be down in the minor leagues for a while. Because if they get off to a good start and they need 1 or 2 starts for a 5th starter, they can go with Yarbrough and keep Hill stretched out in the minor leagues. And then once Rodon comes back and Cole comes back, there's going to be a really good starter or 2 that's out of that rotation. That would translate into the bullpen. Might be Will Warren. It could be Ryan Weathers. It could be. So you have to look out for that, and Hill could be down there for a while. Or, when they need the 5th starter, they'll disregard what I said, and they'll just call him up. But will he be on the Scranton shuttle? Those are things to consider as well. When I look at the Yankees, the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about, that to me is not a slam dunk, is their bullpen. Who is Camilo Doval? They say they've straightened him out. He struggled with the Yankees. They say they've looked at video from when he was at the Giants and he was an all-star, and they think they've gotten him back to that. If they've gotten him back to that, that's big league. Because then you've got a monster setup guy for Bednar. The rest of the bullpen, we'll see how it plays out. Who's going to step up? Who's going to get high leverage? Tim Hill doesn't throw hard, but boy, he gets hard outs. And by hard outs, I mean high leverage outs. I trust him a lot. And we'll see some of the young guys, what they're going to get out of it. Bird made the team. Is he going to be the pitcher they thought they got from Colorado? Winquest, the Rule 5 draft pick from the Cardinals. They have to keep him on the team all year. Otherwise, they have to offer him back to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals might take him. So there's names out there that I think could be good, but let's see if they are. Let's see if they are. I think, again, the Yankees, the most complete team in the American League East. They're all good, but the Yankees have the fewest question marks. Now, you want to say third base is a question mark in terms of offense? You can. McMahon can field with anybody. I think he's going to win the Gold Glove at third base this year. He never was able to win it in the National League. Always had a great player blocking him like Arenado. Now, he could win the Gold Glove. He also might be platooned with Rosario. Rosario against lefties really can hit. Now they'll sacrifice some defense, and the time that they won't play Rosario at third is when Max Fried is starting. Because they want the best defender at third base, because Fried, left-handed, throws a lot of ground balls. So those are things to look at. Shortstop, another thing to look at. What's Caballero going to do? And then Volpe, I think Volpe's going to get his job back when he comes back. Is this going to be a season where he reclaims the title of the Yankees starting shortstop and shortstop of the future? Those are questions. Those are 2 questions right there. Another question I mentioned earlier is Wells going to be able to separate defense from offense, because I think that's what's got him a little bit off track last year. He can't be worried so much about the defense when he's hitting. He's got to separate the two, and as you get older, you should be able to do that. This guy, to me, could be a 25-30 home run guy. 25-30 home run guy. But I like this team. I laugh when people make predictions. Who's going to win the World Series, who's going to make the playoffs, stuff like that, because we can't predict who's going to get hurt, who's going to pull a hamstring, who's going to blow out a shoulder, who's going to get Tommy John surgery. We don't know. All things being equal, this is the way I see the American League East. I got the Yankees first. I got the Orioles second. I got the Blue Jays third. I got the Red Sox fourth. And I got Tampa Bay fifth. I also have a sneaky feeling that all 3 wild cards in the American League will come out of the East. So the second, third, and fourth place finishers in the East, I think, will be wild card teams. I think the Yankees end up winning the division. I think Detroit will end up winning the Central. And I think Seattle will end up winning the West. Who's going to come out of the American League? I'll be a homer, and I'll say the Yankees. A lot of people in the Post yesterday had a great baseball preview section. They had the Yankees in the World Series against the Dodgers. A lot of people, a lot of them had them winning. So we'll see how that plays out. And when we get to the National League in the 2 o'clock hour on the Mets, we'll certainly play that out as well. But I'm excited. Every time opening day, there's two things on the baseball calendar that gets you excited. Pitchers and catchers, and then opening day. And people go so crazy about opening day, right? And it's just one game out of 162. But everybody starts fresh. Everybody is 0-0. Everybody's 0-0. So everybody has hope. Now, that hope doesn't last that long because there are realistic fan bases as well where they know truly they have no chance whatsoever to compete with the big bad behemoths in Major League Baseball with the big payrolls. Every now and then, a team could sneak through. But Minnesota Twin fans, they don't think they have a chance. They don't. A little bit later on, I'm going to give you some of the teams I look at that could surprise, too. Not surprise in terms of winning the World Series, but you think of them as bad teams, and I think of them, they could be better than you think. It's a fun time, man. It's a fun time. I hope you enjoy the game tonight. As I mentioned, if you want a little of the local flavor, the Yes Network is going to have an hour pregame show. Meredith and I will be on the field, and Bob and Jack and company will be in the studio. So a full hour leading into the Netflix presentation of the Yankees against the Giants. So it all begins. Yankee season last year, 94 wins, tied with the Blue Jays for the most in the American League. But they got knocked out by the Blue Jays in the division series. It was a disappointment. Failure? I don't like to say failure, but there's a lot of pressure on them this year. That clock, that calendar is flipping pages, baby. They have not won a world championship since 2009. Since 2009. And they've only been to one World Series during that time, and that was 2024, and they lost in 5 games to the Dodgers. So you would think with the high payroll that they have and bringing the team back that got them 94 wins that they thought was good enough to win the World Series, that there is pressure on this Yankee team. When you read the stories about the managers on the hot seat, I would say that Aaron Boone's probably on the hot seat. I would say he's on the hot seat. He's got one more year on his contract after this, and there has to be a sacrifice, right? Like, let's say they have an unforetold a bad season, they don't make the playoffs. He's going to be the first one offered to the fans, I would think. His numbers over his first 8 years, historically great, but he still has to win that World Series. That's the one thing that gnaws at him. That's the one thing that's missing. And Brian Cashman, he's got 4 World Series that he was the GM for. He was not the GM in '96. He was the assistant. He wants that 5th. He wants that first one since 2009. So there's pressure, and there's pressure on the Mets side as well, which we'll get into a little bit later on. All right, the phone, they're jammed. So, I could give you the number. That would just be me being repetitive, but they are jammed right now. I'll get to you because you're the co-host. We're coming to you live from San Francisco, the epicenter of baseball today. No other games being played. Yankees, Giants tonight. It all starts the 6-month death march into the postseason. Hey, the Michael K. Show Reverse Remote coming up on April 23rd. It's presented by our good friends at Floor and Decor. A full show takeover with everything you need to upgrade your home while we break down everything happening in New York sports. And if you're in Brooklyn, hey, stop by Floor and Decor's flagship store. That's at 850 3rd Avenue. Because while we're on the air, there's plenty happening in store. The Michael K. Show Reverse Remote, presented by Floor and Decor. Time for the co-host coming up in just a moment. There's going to be a great show, very baseball-centric. We'll talk a little bit about what the Knicks did with the victory yesterday over the Pelicans. 7th straight win, but now the junior varsity part of the schedule is over for them. They're going to be playing some good teams. They're essentially tied right now. They're percentage points behind, but they're looked at as tied for the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference because they are tied with Boston. Exciting times. Sports, how great is it? We're rolling into a time where there's going to be so much to talk about each and every day. That's why it's the fastest 2 hours in sports as we lead you to Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up at 3 right here on ESPN New York.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
It feels like everyone's sick right now. You aren't imagining it. Doctors say this is the worst cold and flu season in 25 years, and it's not over. I was just traveling. It was like everyone around me was coughing, sneezing, and sick. I can't afford to get sick, and I doubt you can either. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. Having a medical emergency kit is like having urgent care and pharmacy right in your home. It includes essential prescriptions like generic Z-Pak to help you get well faster, plus important antibiotics to treat pneumonia, strep throat, sinus and ear infections, nausea, even UTIs, and many more common and serious illnesses. It's your kit the moment you need it. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's genius. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. I can save you $45 when you use my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. Again, save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
The NBA moves fast, and the stars move faster. With DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, you're never a step behind. DraftKings keeps pace with every play, offering industry-leading live betting, dynamic odds that shift as the game unfolds, and more open markets more often. They're live when others aren't, so you're always in the game when it matters most. Get in on the action with live player props as the most exciting performances unfold in real time. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WHSQ. That's code WHSQ. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million every year for life. That's enough money to say, bring it on, the future. I will have that guacamole at any price.
Play the new Millionaire for Life today. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-375-8936. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-375-8936, 800-375-8936, 800-375-8936.
All right, so there was something in the transactions page which should really make Yankee fans feel pretty good. So in compiling the 26-man roster that will start the season, the Yankees put Volpe on the 10-day IL. They put Rodon on the 15-day IL. And the thing that caught my attention is they put Cole on the 15-day IL. Now, they could have put him on the 60 if they think he's not going to come back until the beginning of June. They could have put him on the 60, even if he's coming back last week in May, because you can backdate it, I believe, to the 17th, something like that, and they put him on the 15. Now, he pitched well against the Cubs in Mesa last night, or yesterday afternoon, and the bottom line is now you take a look, and hey, they think he's going to get back sooner than the original projection. Otherwise, they could have been on the 60 and created room on the roster for somebody else. They also put Grichuk on the roster, who'll wear number 34 for the Yankees, and that's their team. Brent Hedrick, they have a lot of hope for him. When I was mentioning the bullpen, I didn't even talk about Fernando Cruz, who's one of my favorite people, and he's got great stuff, but he doesn't throw strikes all that much, and he gets himself into trouble by walking people, and if you lay off that great splitter, you could end up walking, and he could get himself into trouble. So I think he could be important if he commands his pitches. If he does, he becomes just as important as Doval. 1-800-919-3776. Hey, Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7:30, Rangers are in Toronto to play the Maple Leafs. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on ESPN New York. 8:05, Yankees open the season in San Francisco against the Giants. Pregame show on Yes at 7. Game will be broadcast on Netflix at 8. At 10 p.m., the Nets are in San Francisco to play the Warriors. I was thinking about going to that game, but I'm going to watch the whole Yankee game, obviously, and then we'll spill into the Net game. But that would have been fun to go to. Tullamore Dew the original triple distilled, and that game will be on Yes. Triple blended and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Let's go to the phones. Let's start with Jack in Astoria. Jack, start it off, baby.
What's up, Mike? How you doing? Happy opening day.
Cool.
I'm honestly just calling about, and it's not like I want to defend the whole, streaming and Netflix and things like that, but it's just ridiculous, the outcry that everyone has with all the streaming services. I mean, it's not 1990s anymore, unfortunately. The NBA doing it, the NFL, and it's 162 games. I just don't really see the big deal on throwing a game on Netflix and the Amazon Prime stuff. I mean, I don't know a single person in my life who doesn't have those streaming services. So I just think the outcry is a little ridiculous, and it's just people complaining just to complain about everything.
Well, you know what, Jack? I hear you. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Listen, I understand why people want their local broadcasters on, kind of a milestone game. Milestone might be the wrong word, but it's a game that has a lot of eyeballs. And I know as a broadcaster, those are the games that you'd like to do, but I get it. But you're saying, there's a lot of people don't have a lot of money. These are tough times. Now, I do not know anybody in my life that does not have Netflix. Anybody. I mean, Netflix is the biggest streaming giant in the world. So I don't think, there are people that are Yankee fans that, I guess there are some that don't have Netflix, so it's an inconvenience and it's an expense. And Amazon, I mean, how many people in this world don't get something delivered by Amazon? And if you have the top Amazon service with free delivery, then you get the streaming service for free. Listen, I'm not defending either side. I understand both sides. And I understand the inconvenience of having to find the games. I get all of that. I really, really do. But there are people it affects, so I'm not just going to poo-poo it. There are older people that don't have the disposable income in order to do it. And people will always say, well, they're trying for younger fans. Get it, understand it, the future, but do not ignore your fan base of older fans that make up much of the success of baseball. And I think that advertisers are getting smart too. Because it used to be, something that 54 was like the cutoff point. Moronic. People in their 60s have a lot of money. They can spend money. So just because your fan base might be a little older, don't ignore them. They could buy tickets, and people are living longer. So when you're in your 60s or early 70s, doesn't mean you're at the checkout line. Don't ignore those people, and those people might not want to navigate the streaming situation. Let's go to Pat in the Bronx. Pat.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. What do you got, man?
Listen, this whole Netflix thing, like that last caller was talking about, everybody he knows has got streaming. Well, it's probably their old man that's picking up the tab for them as well. You're paying a bill of over $200 a month for whatever, cable and internet.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. This is, for opening day, how much money are they making on this Netflix deal? Right? That's one. Two,
right.
Volpe, we got to put him in the back shelf someplace. This is like watching G. Michaels try to be a switch hitter batting .210 from both sides. My old man used to say, I wish he could hit from one side, never mind two.
So you've given up on Volpe?
Mike, I got to tell you, I've been following this kid. I was a big fan of his. His rookie year, I was like, this kid's going to grow. And he's gone in reverse. He really has. I mean, we've been hiding him in the lineup. I mean, Caballero at least is going to give you 50 steals a year. Volpe,
well, one thing, listen, I'm not going to defend Anthony, Pat, because he had a bad year last year. But in a bad year, Pat, right? He had 19 homers and 72 ribbies. That's not nothing on a bad year.
Yeah, but he was still, he's batting .215 though. I mean, I don't, what do we got? Dave Kingman at shortstop? I mean, that's great, but.
Well, I will tell you this, Pat. This is his last chance. I mean, this is his last chance to. I think he's going to be a major leaguer for a long time. But in terms of like being the Yankee shortstop, this is his chance. Now, people forget he had a so-so year offensively the first year and won the Gold Gloves. The second year, I think he bumped his average up to 247. Now, last year it fell back down. Was that because of the shoulder? I don't know. Now we'll see. In 2026, we're going to see. They are not as quick to give up on him as some fans are. They're just not. They still believe that there's something there. The organization still believes. And it's not as if they don't have any options. George Lombard Jr., honestly, might be a better defensive shortstop right now than Anthony. Anthony's a good defensive shortstop. Lombard's on a different level. I mean, the way it plays out, this could be, if the Yankees don't sign Chisholm to a long-term contract, and Volpe shows that he can hit 270 and get on base 34% of the time so he could steal bases, they might move him to second and then call up Lombard next year. That could be the ultimate plan. And one of the best prospects that they have is their recent first-round draft pick, Dax Kilby. Big, strong, left-handed batter. Maybe he projects into the outfield because he's so big, but that guy, many people think is going to be a star. Many people think will be a star. Well, let me piggyback on one thing. So Pat just said Netflix, it's getting ridiculous. Here's the thing, because in Andrew Marchand's story in The Athletic, if you want to watch all 162 that the Yankees play this year, you have to have 8 either cable packages or streaming services. 8. I think that's what gets people upset. Well, wait. Like, for some reason, if you're somebody from Mars and you don't have Netflix and you're the biggest Yankee fan in the world, you got to get another streaming package just to watch this game? That's what they're complaining about. I think, like, if every Yankee game was on Yes and Amazon, I think people would suck it up and go, okay, I'll deal with that. And I want to take you back just a little bit, see if you all remember. I'm of a certain age that the games were on PIX as I grew up. It was Phil, Frank, and Bill. That's it. You want to find the Yankee game was on PIX. Then some games were on Sports Channel. People got very, very nervous. Oh, I got to pay to see the Yankee games? And then MSG got the rights. People got a little nervous because MSG took most of the games. Now they did have some games on free TV. And then the Yes Network happens. But remember, when it went from PIX to cable, we thought it was the beginning of the end of the world. And it worked out. It worked out. We grew to accept it. My father could not even imagine paying for television. Now we pay for television and we pay for radio on Sirius XM. So the things that we once thought unthinkable are very thinkable now. They're almost second nature. I think that when baseball figures out how to get everything under one umbrella of maybe one streamer, I think people will calm down. I don't know so much if it's the situation where the money is bothering you. It's the constant having to find where the game is. It's the constant, I've got to now have 8 cable and streaming subscriptions to watch 162 games. That's what's riling people up the most. We've got to get back to a situation where it's more reality-based, where it's functioning, where it's easy for people to find their game. That's what people want, more so than arguing about the price of Netflix or the price of Amazon, although that I'm not discounting that because, again, there are people that don't have a lot of money, that don't have the money for streaming, and all of a sudden they can't watch their Yankees or their Mets. And baseball, because it's such a traditional sport, gets most of the criticism, but you look at football, Christmas Day games are on Netflix, Thursday games are on Prime. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to sign up for when it comes to football, too. And now basketball, you got to have Peacock. You have to have Prime, ESPN. And you've got to have your local regional sports networks to get the rest of the games. Every single sport is becoming that, and I think it's annoying people. Now, when does it stop? It stops when people say, I'm not doing it anymore. But people don't want to cut off their nose to spite their face and give up something they love in their free time, which is watching sports. And that's why sports is such a driver for the streaming services, because every scripted series, everybody, there's no urgency to watch it. You can watch it whenever you want. But with a sport, a live sporting event, you have to watch it right when it happens. It's appointment television. It's the last thing that's appointment. So they've got you over the barrel. They know that you want to see your sports. You want to see your team. And to see your team, you have to have all these streaming services. And to be frank, you're kind of taking advantage of the fans because of their love for sports. At some point, there will be an uprising. At some point, they'll say enough is enough is enough. I don't know if we're there, but I think we're getting closer than we've ever been. To have 8 different cable subscriptions and streaming services to watch 162 Yankee games, that's a lot to ask of people. Hey, the NFL draft is coming up on Thursday, April 23rd, and New York is on the clock. The Jets pick 2nd and 16th. The Giants pick 5th. And Rick DiPietro and Dave Rothenberg are breaking it all down live. Join ESPN New York's Couchcast, your second screen for the NFL draft. Real-time reactions, instant takes, and everything New York fans care about. Watch along, react with us, and don't miss a single moment. ESPN New York's Couchcast on draft night, April 23rd at 8 p.m. It's presented by Calandra's Bakery. We continue with you, the co-host, 1-800-919-3776. The K-Show, rolling till 3 right here on ESPN New York.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. This month, you'll be feeling March magic when you win your share of $50,000 cash during our Rainbow Riches drawing. Be here every Wednesday in March from 2 to 7 p.m. Each hour, one lucky guest is drawn to win up to $5,000 cash. Earn entry starting at 12:30 p.m. Come chase the rainbow every Wednesday in March, where Long Island wins at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone you care about, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2026 Mazda CX-30 2.5S preferred all-wheel drive for just $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN TM108368. MSRP $31,435. Zero security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
Listen, I know the mentality. You try to play through pain and walk it off. push through one more day. But when it comes to neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, that's a losing game. That's when you call Dr. J. Shaw at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shaw is one of New Jersey's top pain specialists, Ivy League trained, double board certified, and he focuses on non-surgical solutions that get real results. No cuts, no downtime, no dependence on pain meds. He builds you a custom game plan for you so that you can move better, feel better, and live pain-free. Same day or next day appointments are available. Visit SandwellPain.com. Stop managing pain. Start beating it.
This baseball season, FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. Betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. Make your choice, and the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel is the home of home runs. Maybe you're confident about Aaron Judge's home run total. How many bases will Juan Soto steal? Will the Mets or the Yankees get out to a fast start? So, ready to play your game? Head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. Betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. Make your choice, and the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel, an official partner of MLB. 21 plus and physically present in New York, opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Help with a gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Discover where your future can take you at SUNY Canton Spring Open House on Saturday, April 25th. Explore exciting new programs like data science and analytics and cybersecurity designed to prepare you for today's most in-demand careers. Tour campus, meet faculty, connect with current students, and sit down with financial aid representatives. Plus, attendees can enter for a chance to win a scholarship. For registration details and information about courtesy bus trips from New York, email admissions@canton.edu. SUNY Canton, your future starts here.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering 25% off windows and doors or 0% APR for 72 months. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
Smalls here. Did you know there are many ways to do your taxes with H&R Block? You can go to a local office and get expert help in person, or you can choose virtual tax prep and get expert help without leaving home. Or you can even do them yourself online with live human help standing by. Whatever you choose, you can file with confidence, having H&R Block's 70 plus years of tax expertise in your corner. Switch today and file your way at hrblock.com.
NBA fans don't just watch the game, they live it. So stream like you're courtside with NBA League Pass, your ticket to all the action. Watch your favorite team shine and catch the league's brightest stars and rising stars at the same time with multi-view on your favorite devices. From the plays you can't believe to the most live games and the drama that comes with it. If it happens on the court, it's happening on NBA League Pass.
Only select out-of-market games available. Blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
How about this? So during the break, I'm reading through some emails, and I got an email from the Giants. So they're actually making this into two separate opening days. So tonight it's opening night, MLB opening night presented by Adobe. And then they're saying their traditional opening day presented by Oracle is going to be Friday at 1:35. That game will be on Yes. So it's almost like Major League Baseball, forced this as the opening night, which they sold to Netflix. Then tomorrow's an off day to cover for any rain. And then Friday's their opening night. It's so weird. So the master of ceremonies tonight is Bert Kreischer. You know, the comedian with the, who always takes his shirt off? He's the master of ceremonies. And then on Friday, the Giants' real opening day, they're calling it, is John Miller, the master of ceremonies on the field. Longtime broadcaster, Hall of Famer. He's unbelievable. So it's weird. So this is opening night, but then the Giants' opening day is on Friday. Odd. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Gooch in Queens. Gooch, what's up, man?
Mike, I'm going to miss you today, Mike. I even put up on my post a scene from The Godfather where he's in bed and he says, "Where's Michael? Where's Michael?" I'm going to miss you,
Oh,
Mike.
thank you. I'll be back Friday.
I'll see you Friday, Mikey. Take care. But, hey, Mikey, I want to send that one to Peter, too. Where's Michael?
I love it. Thanks,
Later,
Gooch.
baby.
You know what I love about The Godfather 2? Not The Godfather 2. The Godfather also is that, who's Michael married to? K. Michael K. Love it. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Spencer in East Windsor. Spencer.
Hey, Michael. On the issue of streaming services, just real quick, I highly recommend your audience give a listen to Joel Sherman and John Heyman interview Scott Boras. He discusses that issue as it relates to the CBA, so it's a very good listen.
Well, encapsulate that. I'm curious. What does he say, essentially?
Well, he's saying that the streaming services are big money, and to what you were saying before, it would be like the owners cutting off their nose to spite their face if they go on strike or if they have a lockout. So that's really like the big bait that they're willing to give away. He says it much better than I do. He puts it more eloquently. I highly give your audience a recommendation to listen to it.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
What was your other point, Spence?
My other point is I'm probably not going to get a job with Fangraphs because I feel like the Yankees are going to get 98 wins this season. Two reasons why I feel that way. Number one, the return of Garrett Cole. While his arm is still rehabilitating, I think the year off gave his legs a lot of rest, and that's going to benefit him. Number two, I think the ABS is really going to help the Yankees a lot more than they realize, in particular with Aaron Judge. I think it's going to result in more hits for him, which is going to result in more runs. And let's take a look at Aaron Judge as well. Aaron Judge last year drove in and scored more runs than any other player in baseball, even when he was on the injured list for 2 weeks, more than Ohtani and more than Cal Raleigh. That was what his real value was. So I think the ABS system is going to help him, and where it helps him, it will help the team. Happy opening day.
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate it. So very optimistic at 98. That might be a little bit high. And, do you think the Yankees are better than they were last year when they won 94? Remember, they won 94 games, and they had just a god-awful June, right? They didn't have Cole the entire year. They didn't call up Schlittler till much later, and they won 94 games. Will they win more now because of Cole? But remember, Cole probably only going to make 24 starts. If he missed the first 2 months of the season, that's 8 starts out of the 32 that he won't make. So will he have as much of an impact with the 24 starts of Cole, though, is much better than 0 starts with Cole. And you'd have to think he's going to be much fresher for the postseason if the Yankees make it. 1-800-919-3776. Vincent in Arizona. Vinny, what's up, man?
Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I got 3 quick predictions for opening day, and I wanted your take.
Okay.
Aaron Judge, 50-plus home runs. Ben Rice, 30-plus home runs. And Cam Schlittler wins 15 or more games is in the conversation for Cy Young. Thanks, Mike.
Well, I don't. You know what, Vincent? I don't think that's outrageous at all. I mean, you almost have to pencil in Judge at 50 if he's healthy. I mean, that's what he's become. Well, they've been 4 years where he's hit over 50 home runs. So I'd say that's good. Rice, if he plays every day and even against some lefties, should be in the high 20s or 30. And if Schlittler's healthy, I don't know how he doesn't win 15. So, I mean, I thought, when I saw 3 Yankee predictions that they would be really out, I don't think those are out there at all, Vincent. I think those are reasonable. They're well thought out, and they certainly could happen. Certainly could happen. Steve is in New Rochelle. Steve, talk to me.
Hey, Mike. So nice to talk to you. I just wanted to bring up one thing. Do you know how difficult it is to DVR stuff from Netflix?
Well, how do you do it? I don't even know if you can.
You've got to jump around, and the only way you can get it, I believe, is to finally download, and you can watch it on your mobile device. I have an 80-inch TV in my man cave.
But Steve, don't all the streaming services have that you can go back and watch it? I don't think you could keep it for a long time. But any live sport, I know that Amazon Prime on Thursday Night Football, you could watch it, a couple of days later.
Amazon definitely does it. I've never tried it with Netflix. I'll attempt it, but I'm thinking that a really smart tech guy could figure out how to jump between all these services And so if you wanted to say they're making a pitching change and you want to switch to a game on another channel or another streaming service, it's not so difficult to do.
Yeah, I think that, Steve, I believe that's the next frontier. I think Amazon's as close to doing it, where they're getting all the streaming services under, you could buy each streaming service from Amazon. I don't know if every streaming service loves that, but Amazon obviously is trying to conquer the world in every which way they can. YouTube TV is also something that's trying to master that as well. I don't think it's that far in the future, because I think that's one of the frustrations. And if you have a populace that becomes frustrated in a certain thing that's happening in the world, they will at one point rebel. So if you can solve this, where you can jump from game to game, from cable to streaming, without going through, jumping through hoops, then people might be less angry about the price they're paying. So you got to take one of those impediments away. And really, one of the impediments is, in fact, you can't switch from game to game, and that is annoying. I know it is for me. It's annoying. Let's go to Rod in Bethlehem. What's up, Rod?
Hey, Mike. Happy opening day. It's amazing how timeless it is. You're the same kid as you are every single opening day, every single year.
You're right. Well said.
First, my quick question is about the first base and third base coaches and their positioning. I know you brought it up when it was first mentioned, where they got to stay in the box to alter this. Do you think that we will have more incidences or quote unquote accidents happen this year because of this move? And do you think we should get ahead of the curve and make sure that these third base coaches have the grill that they have in softball, the girls softball teams have on their helmets? Because I know they wear helmets, and it may differ from those, 10% of those guys that were cheating and trying to steal signs. Because I sat at what was called in Cooperstown. The last time I was in Cooperstown was at the last Hall of Fame game back in 2008. My dad gave me a call up. I was in my mid-35s, and let me tell you something, Mike. You're right. When you go to Cooperstown, I was like a 12-year-old boy up there. But at that game, at the exhibition game, it was between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. And I sat on the third base line. So this is before netting. And if you've ever been down to Doubleday Field over there in Cooperstown, you could describe it better than me. But it's like a Little League field where you're sitting there in the stands, and they had the stands there. And the third base coach was Juan Samuel. And he was back on the position. Now, I was 3 rows back. It only took me about 3 pitches in. I asked my dad why there were 3 ambulances lined up behind the first base line. And he told me, you'll see. And it was at the first pitch from a left-hand batter when I realized that it was the most uncomfortable baseball game I was ever at, because you had to flinch because you were so close to the action. So that's why I'm worried.
Well, I think you really have a legitimate right to be worried. A lot of these coaches, they're out, in left field at third base, not to steal signs, but with Judge and Stanton up, you can get killed. And what they're trying to eliminate is they don't want you to be out in the outfield, because those that are trying to steal signs, the farther out in the outfield they are, the better view they could have of the catcher and his signs, and look into the glove of a pitcher and maybe whistle and tell the batter what's coming up. So they're going to keep you within the catcher's box, but you could probably back up. I know you could back up really quickly once the pitcher's delivered, and they'll probably give you some leeway in backing up. It's not being out of the box toward the dugout. It's being out of the box toward the outfield that baseball thinks that's where the sign stealing is happening. But you're so close. You are so close. Somebody's going to get hit. Somebody's going to get hit. I think that the coaches would probably push back on the face mask. I know a lot of them push back on wearing the helmet, but it was a smart move and they finally gave in. But, it's something to watch all year. That could be something that would turn out awful. You're trying to end one thing. You're trying to end the sign stealing, but you might come up with something that's far worse. Hey, this baseball season, FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. Make your choice, and the reward, why do I keep saying reward? And the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel is the home of home runs. Now, maybe you're confident about Aaron Judge's home run total. Fans just said it's going to be over 50. Yeah, I think it might be. Will Bo Bichette lead the league in hits? How many home runs will Juan Soto hit? And will the Mets or the Yankees get out to a fast start? So, ready to play your game? Well, I hope so. Head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issue or rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Hey, this is Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson for three.
And this is your home for New York Knicks basketball. This is 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million every year for life. That's enough money to say, bring it on, the future. I will have that guacamole at any price.
Play the new Millionaire for Life today. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention New York Verizon mobile customers. Score a massive win with award-winning Fios Home Internet for an incredible $20 a month guaranteed for 3 years. Switch today for savings you can count on. Call 1-800-VERIZON now. For new Fios customers with AutoPay, mobile and home discount enrollment required. 3-year price guarantee applies to the Fios base monthly rate only. Additional terms apply.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
ESPN is now the home of MLB.tv. If you have the ESPN Unlimited plan, you'll get a $15 discount on the 2026 seasonal MLB.tv package. And if you don't, no problem. When you sign up for MLB.tv, you'll receive a 1-month free trial of ESPN Unlimited. Cancel anytime without losing your MLB.tv access. Get in on the action at stream.espn.com/MLBTV.
ESPN Unlimited auto renews at $29.99 per month after free trial unless canceled. Blackouts and other terms apply.
Progressive presents the Passionate Sports Fan Checklist. Signed jersey of your favorite bench warmer? Check. 14 bobbleheads that look nothing like the players they're emulating? Check. Twin TVs so you can watch the game on 2 different networks simultaneously? Check. Life-size wall sticker of your favorite player that routinely freaks you out at night? Check. A second life-size wall sticker so after the first one freaks you out, you see the second and you're like, oh right, the wall stickers. Check and mate. Bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive and save on protection for the things on your checklist. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers not available in all states or situations covered subject to policy terms.
Welcome back to the show. Boy, that first hour just flew by. It's opening day in baseball. Yankees against the Giants tonight. And tomorrow, the rest of the teams get going with the Mets against the Pirates. It'll be Peralta against Skeens, and Carson Benj, our rookie who made the team with a great spring training, will be the starting right fielder. So it's exciting times for the Mets. Now, it's interesting. You know, we're talking about the Yankees in the first hour, and everybody just accepts that the Yankees have more pressure on them to win than anybody else, which would include the Mets. And I don't quite understand that. The Yankees had a disappointing ending to their season last year, But they won 94 games. They won the first, the wild card round, and then they lost to the Blue Jays, who gave them trouble all year. The Mets won 83 games with a massive payroll, and they lost a tiebreaker to the Cincinnati Reds. All they had to do was win that last game against Miami, and they couldn't do it. So now the Mets have a payroll, I think, of about $370 million. And Steve Cohen has said this. This is not Michael Kay saying it. He's tired of the fact they haven't won a World Series in 40 years. 40. The last time they won a World Series was 1986. Now, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. But since the last time the Mets won a World Series, the Yankees have won 5 in those 40 years. The Mets have not won any. Mets have been to a couple. They were in the World Series against the Yankees in 2000, and they were in the World Series against the Royals in 2015, and they lost. Now they've got an owner who will spend whatever it takes to put the best team that he thinks on the field. And don't you think he's starting to lose patience? I mean, Met fans, they are so diehard, and they love their team so much, and they have not been indoctrinated like Yankee fans, like World Series or bust, which started with George when he bought the team in 1973. Met fans have not been told that. But at some point, it's time to put up or shut up. So the Mets payroll is higher than the Yankee payroll. Their drought of winning a championship is much longer than the Yankees, much longer, 1986 to 2009. So why is there more pressure on the Yankees? Now, Aaron Boone has put together an unbelievable run over his 8 years where they didn't make the playoffs once. Well, Mendoza goes to the Game 6 of the NLCS in his first year, and a colossal disappointment last year. This is the third year of his deal. I think he's on the hot seat as much as Boone is. I don't think, if the Mets, and I think they're making the playoffs, if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year, Mendoza's gone. And I think the heat will start to come down on David Stearns, because this version of the Mets, it's a Frankenstein monster created by David Stearns. He didn't like what he saw, and I don't blame him. That was an awful year last year, and he got rid of a lot of people that Met fans love. Pete Alonso's in Baltimore now. Brendan Nimmo is in Texas right now. McNeil is gone. They got rid of a lot of people that Met fans love. And they decided, we're going to redo this. We're going to reimagine this. And they went out and spent an awful lot of money. The money they're spending on Bichette will probably come out to $47 million, because he makes $42 million this year. And then he can opt out. And if he opts out, he gets a $5 million bonus for opting out. So Bichette will make $47.5 million and opt out and get another contract after that. You gave Polanco an awful lot of money to play first base. He's never played first base as a starter in his life. I think he played 1 inning there in an emergency for the Mariners. Bichette is not a third baseman. He's learning how to play third. It can be done. A-Rod did it. He became quite proficient at the hot corner after being a shortstop. And A-Rod was a top-flight shortstop. Bichette was not a top-flight shortstop. He was a great hitter, and his shortstop skills were questioned a lot. Now he's going to move to third base. When you look at the Mets, I think their strength is going to be their pitching. I actually think Nolan McLean is going to win the Rookie of the Year, because he didn't pitch enough to not be qualified as a rookie this year. Schlittler did. McLean didn't. So McLean, actually, I believe, is going to win the Rookie of the Year. So I look at that, and I said, that's important. Peralta is a stud. He's going to start opening day. And then we'll see how the rest of the rotation fleshes out. But by the way, Senga was magnificent in spring training. But I look at the Mets and I say they should have as much pressure as the Yankees, if not more so. I know the Yankees haven't won a world championship, but the Mets didn't make the playoffs last year. They didn't make the playoffs last year. So they have not made the playoffs 2 years out of the last 3. The last year under Buck, and then the second year under Mendoza. So a team with a payroll that rivals only the Dodgers, right? Only the Dodgers rival the Mets payroll. They have missed the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. I would think that translates to a heck of a lot a heck of a lot of pressure on the Mets. But for some reason, it always seems to be, well, the pressure's on the Yankees, the pressure's on the Yankees. I think the Mets are feeling it as well. Now, we gave you all the projections at the beginning of the show. The Mets actually have higher projection win totals from Pacoda and Fangraphs than the Yankees do. In Fangraphs, the Yankees are projected to win 88.6, and that's, what they do is they project the entire season. That's why it comes out to 88.6, and the Mets are at 89.8, so they have them a little bit more than a win more than the Yanks. When you look at Pacoda, the Yankees are 88.6, and the Mets are at 89.4, so a little under one more win. And then when you look at Keith Law of The Athletic, Keith has the Yankees at 91 wins and the Mets at 94. So this is the way I look at the National League East. I think the Mets are, they're kind of like on the head of a pin where things could go really well and they never fall off, or they could go really poorly and it could be a disaster. Because you are really forcing the issues on a lot of things. Defensively at shortstop and at first. Defensively behind the plate. You've improved in center field. I think Luis Robert is actually going to have a very good year. Benj has a great arm in right. He used to be a pitcher in college. So I think that's an improvement over Soto. And Soto, we'll see what he can do in left field. I'm a little worried about the Mets bullpen. We'll see what Devin Williams and Luke Weaver can do out there. But those right now, you look at that bullpen, it's not a shutdown bullpen. So I think the Yankees and the Mets have questions. Both teams have questions in their bullpen. Devin Williams could end up being the reliever that he was with Milwaukee, and then it becomes a strength. And Luke Weaver could end up being the pitcher that he was in 2024 and not last year with the Yankees. So that's why the variable is so wide. I'm torn between picking the Phillies or the Mets for first place. I think the Braves are out of it. I think, they could end up being a wild card team, but the Braves have way too many injuries when it comes to their pitching. I think that I don't know how Walt Weiss is going to work it out. I don't know how he's going to work it out. Frankly, I don't. I don't know how he's going to get all those starts. Who's going to make those starts? If they get desperate to make a trade, Anthopoulos is a really good GM, and they have a really good lineup, but who's going to start the game? So I have them third, and it's a battle for me between the Mets and Philadelphia. And I actually think Philadelphia is getting older, so its window is closing. Like, it's almost hitting the fingers on the windowsill. But I think they have one more year left in them. So I'm going to pick the Phillies to finish first and the Mets to be a game or two behind them and finish second. Now, in the Central, I think I'm going to go with the Cubs over the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers have won the last 2 years in a row. They've defied everybody. Maybe they defy everybody again, but I think the Cubs will win the Central and the Brewers will finish second. And then in the West, I look at the Dodgers, obviously winning that division, although they don't put much emphasis on the regular season. If they get in as a wild card, they're fine with it. And then I think San Diego will probably be the number 2 team in the West, followed by the Diamondbacks. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. It can change. The Giants, you look at the Giant bullpen, and you'll see it when you watch the Yankee game tonight. Their bullpen is full of question marks. Full of question marks. I don't know why they didn't address it more. Their lineup is pretty good with Devers. Their starting staff is a really good starting staff. And their bullpen is a huge question mark. That's why I don't think they'll be contending. So I think the Mets will be a wild card. I think Milwaukee will be a wild card. And I think San Diego will be a wild card as well. Who's going to come out? If you ask me, would you pick the Dodgers or the field? I pick the field. Because there have been several instances over the last 2 years where the Dodgers were in elimination games and everything went their way. Is everything going to go their way? And speaking of a team that's getting older, look at Freeman's age. Look at Mookie Betts' age. That's a team that's getting older, and that's something that Andrew Friedman is starting to worry about just a bit. He is starting to worry about that. I think Diaz is a big addition for them as well. I think the Mets have a chance to go to the World Series. I think the Phillies have a chance. I don't think the Cubs do. I think the Dodgers have a chance. It's one of those 3 teams. So I think New York baseball is going to be great. I think the Mets are going to be good all year. I have them just finishing right behind the Phillies. I have the Yankees finishing in first place, and I have them just ahead of the Baltimore Orioles with Toronto third. Toronto will be third. Boston will be fourth. Tampa Bay will be in last place. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go back to the phone calls. Let's go to Chris in Santa Mauritius. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Michael. First time, long time. Love listening to you on the show. Definitely the quickest 2 hours.
Thank you, man.
But a quick story. I was a 38-year middle school history or social studies teacher, and every year on opening day, as soon as the DVD came out, I would play Field of Dreams and just, kind of get the kids, give them a little bit of a break and get the kids really excited about the season. And I used to have high school kids come back and sit and watch the game, watch the movie with the younger kids, and it just became a good tradition. And baseball is such a traditional sport and game that it kind of lends itself into history after a while.
Now, will you watch Field of Dreams tonight before the Yankee game?
I probably will, because it just gets you kind of psyched up. It's got to be baseball. Yeah, baseball movies are. There's a lot of great ones, but I think this one takes the cake for the best.
I love it. Well, enjoy, Chris. Thank you for that phone call. And it's amazing what teachers can do. All right, so the best teacher I ever had in my life, I mean ever, was a guy by the name of Mr. Wilkoff, Ken Wilkoff. And he was my 5th grade teacher. I mean, I learned more in 5th grade than I can honestly say I learned at the Bronx High School of Science and I learned at Fordham in terms of just reading and math and everything. He was the greatest teacher and knew how to adapt everything to each individual student. Then in 6th grade, I had a teacher by the name of Richard Bear, and he and Ken Wilkoff were close. And Mr. Wilkoff knew how much I loved the Yankees and how much I loved baseball. So we were in class, middle of April, and it was Yankee opening day at Fenway Park. And I was distraught that I was not going to watch the beginning of that game, because that was the game that Ron Blomberg became the first designated hitter in the history of baseball. So I'm sitting in my 6th grade class, and much to my surprise, Mr. Wilkoff, at about 2 o'clock, I think the game started at 2, and school went to 3, wheeled in a television set, plugged it in, and put on WPIX. And let me and the other students, there were a lot of Yankee fans in the school, a public school in the Bronx, and I watched Ron Blomberg walk in his first at bat, the first DH in history. That's what a teacher could mean to somebody. To this day, so 1973, that's 53 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday and what it meant to me. They all knew, I wanted to be the Yankee announcer one day, and that's what a teacher can do for a student. That's how valuable these men and women are. It seemed like a small thing, but for him, he left his class, found a TV in the school, wheeled it in, plugged it in, and I watched Ron Blomberg walk, something I'll never forget, and I'm sure that it's one of the reasons why I am where I am. I don't want to get too dramatic, but he also took me and 3 other students in the summer between 5th and 6th grade. He took me and 3 other students to Cooperstown. That's the first time I ever went to the Hall of Fame because of Mr. Wilkoff. That's how great a teacher he was. Let's go to Al in Patterson. Al.
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Okay, so real quick, my teacher, pretty good, can't complain. My teacher was Miss Decker, 8th grade, and she was a big Atlanta Hawks fan, and she kind of took interest in our basketball teams, and I was a Suns fan at the time. Our friend was a San Antonio Spurs, and she would always, have 5 or 10 minutes. She'd hear us talking about the games in the morning, and she would put in her, 2 or 3 cents. Really, really knowledgeable fan. And I want to piggyback that off of. I come from an era. I'm 46, where growing up, we didn't have cable in our house, and I didn't get cable or anything of that sort until I started working and moved out. And I want to say that when we talk about the topic of baseball in America, it's like a dying sport. And
it's
for
really not.
for you know, in comparison to the other sports, it is.
No, it's not. Only in football.
Yeah, basketball has its little issues, but I think right now, and especially speaking in inner cities, soccer is probably growing more than baseball.
I'll tell you what, Al,
I've heard that my whole
life. I've heard that my whole life.
No, just give me. I hear you. I hear you.
You can talk, but I've heard my whole life since I was a kid. Soccer's the next big thing. It hasn't happened.
No, I'm just saying it's slowly and it creeps, and especially with the demographics of when we're talking about the percentages of the population and who that sport gears to, it is changing. There isn't a baseball. There's probably one baseball field in the city that I live in, and I can remember growing up, there were probably about 3 or 4. And the majority of them, in the summertime, when you drive by them, they're only playing softball nowadays. You don't see kids playing baseball. And now what I wanted to piggyback the teacher thing off of, I kind of got into it a little bit in regards to baseball. One, the issue is the times that the games are played. Then two, now none of the games are for free. So where are these kids seeing these games at?
When were games ever free?
No, I can remember. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but it was probably the worst time of the year when I was a kid, where all you saw were the baseball games on the weekends, and you're not going to see that now unless you have.
I mean, thank you for the phone call. First of all, your initial narrative I don't agree with. Baseball is not a dying sport. Baseball's had an attendance growth each of the last 3 years. They had 30 million people watch Game 7 of the World Series. It's not a dying sport. I mean, soccer kind of intoxicates people because if you drive around on the weekend in suburbia, you see all these fields with kids playing soccer. They don't become soccer players. Soccer has not gotten a foothold at all in this country. It's the fifth sport. It's behind hockey. To say baseball is a dying sport, I mean, you're kind of rambling on, and I don't agree with what you're saying. It's not a dying sport. And there's no sport that's free. Tell me the sport that's on free TV all the time. You can say, well, it's football. Not if you want to watch every football game, because that's changing too. And within our lifetime, football will have the Super Bowl on a streaming service, because that's where the money is. But again, your initial premise to me is dead wrong. Baseball's dying. It's ridiculous. Not dying at all. At all. One thing caught my eye, though. I meant to talk about this on Friday. So, Inter Miami played NYCFC at Yankee Stadium. And do you know that Yankee Stadium had 54,000 people watching that game? Or maybe it was 45. Maybe I'm getting dyslexic. It was jammed because of Messi. Now, can MLS get the greatest soccer players in their prime to come play in the United States? I don't know if you can make the money that the great soccer players make over in Europe. But to say you're coming on opening day and saying baseball is a dying sport, I disagree with you. You couldn't be more wrong. The numbers tell you you're wrong. The baseball Game 7 of the World Series annihilated Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Annihilated it. What was it, 30 million to 17 million? And then when you add in Canada and Japan, it was over 55 million people watching Game 7 of the World Series. Dying sport. On what planet is that a dying sport? Jeff in Florida. Jeff.
Hey, Michael, it's so great to talk to you.
Thanks for calling, buddy.
This is year 34 for you, right?
35.
35, man. Good luck. Have
25 on yes, 10 with John.
Amazing. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute to this streaming service conversation. You know, you mentioned that there's 8 streaming services to watch all 162. Maybe I'm lucky. I have them all, but let me just say that I'm only paying for about, I think, 3 or 4 of them. One I get through my cell phone provider, and the others I'm sharing credentials with my friends and my family. So it's not the hardest thing. And this notion that you don't know when the games are on. First thing I did this morning when I woke up, I went on the Yankees website. I printed out the schedule. It's on my refrigerator right now. So I think it's being blown out of proportion a bit. I will say the one thing that is really just ridiculous is the blackout rules. I'm in North Florida. I live in Ponte Vedra, just south of Jacksonville. I'm 5 hours from Miami. I'm 3.5 from Tampa. But yet, when the Yankees play the Rays or when they play the Marlins next week at opening day, the game's going to be blacked out. I won't be able to watch it, regardless of what service it's on. So, to me, that's the only thing that chaps me. But I'm fired up for the season. My wife and I, we watch every game. Of course, we listen to you and Meredith and everyone else. We're fired up. So have a great season, and that's all I wanted to contribute to the conversation.
I will tell you this, Jeff. The problem with the blackouts, that's one of the things that Manfred wants to solve with the new television contracts in 2028. Now, I don't know where the regionals stand with that. I don't know how he's going to get all the regionals under one umbrella and then sell that one package to, I don't know if it's going to be ESPN or Amazon or whatever. It's going to be sold to one streamer. And I think that's the dream. Whether or not he can pull it off, there's a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, but we'll see if he could pull it off. If he does, it's going to change everything, and there is not going to be blackouts. The blackouts are ridiculous anyway. You should be able to watch what you want to watch. You get the baseball package, you should be able to watch the announcers that you want to watch. And I've long said this, and people think, well, it's Michael, being selfish. It's not. It's not. What should happen, you've got to service your fans. You've got to give your fans what they want. And what they want is during playoff games to hear their local announcers that they spent most of the season with. That's something that should be done. Now, I've got far fewer miles of road in front of me than I do behind me. So this isn't even probably going to happen while I'm still broadcasting. And I hope I have many more years ahead of me. But the bottom line is it's easy with secondary audio. Why don't they do it? Why doesn't the national broadcast do it? They will still get the ratings. What is it, the ego of their broadcasters? The national broadcasters? If the Yankees are playing the Mets, Met fans should have a button that they could hit when they're watching Fox to hear Gary, Ron, and Keith. And Yankee fans should have a button to hear me, David, Paul, and Joe. That's what you should have. You should be catering to your fan base. The fans, what do you always hear? Joe Davis is so pro Dodgers. Joe Buck hates my team. Why do you have to put up with that? You should enjoy the biggest moments of the season with your own announcers and not rob the national broadcaster of the ratings. They deserve the ratings. They're paying a lot of money. But give the fans just a crumb. Let them listen to their broadcasters. If the Phillies are in the World Series, let them listen to Pat McCarthy. Is that so difficult? I don't think it's that difficult. If the Red Sox are in the World Series, let them listen to Dave O'Brien. Why are they forced to listen to a broadcaster that's swooping in at that time and learning the team as best as they could when you could go and have the comfort of your home announcers listen or broadcast the game of the team that you love? But instead, we fight it all the time. Secondary audio, it's not like this great technological heavy lifting that you have to do. It exists. It exists. So give people what they want instead of fighting it. ESPN New York and Floor & Decor are giving you the chance to design your day with me, Michael Kay. One lucky fan and a guest will win an exclusive meet and greet with me inside the iconic broadcast booth. This is your all-access pass and a game day experience that you won't forget. Now to enter, head to the Floor & Decor flagship store at 850 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. Design your day with me, Michael Kay, presented by Floor & Decor. More of your phone calls as we roll on till 3. Opening day in baseball. Yankees-Giants tonight on Netflix. The pregame show on Yes from 7 to 8. And then, yes, me and David and Meredith will broadcast the game on Friday, 1:30 local time in San Francisco, 4:30 in New York. But I'm with you all the time at 1. We're rolling till 3 right here on ESPN New York.
You remember what it feels like to move without thinking about pain? To get up, sit up, walk, work, or live without that constant ache? If neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica took that away from you, it's time to get it back. I'm Bart Scott. Dr. J. Shaw at Sandwell Pain is the guy you need. Ivy League trained, double board certified, no surgery, no scars, no long recovery, just precise, image-guided, non-surgical treatments designed to get you feeling strong again. With offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, and most major insurances are accepted, there is no reason to wait. Go to SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Calling all Paw Patrol pups. Join Optimum and Nickelodeon on March 28th from noon to 3 p.m. at the Co-op City Dreiser Community Center to meet Chase and Marshall and enjoy activities, giveaways, and more. Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in the March Matchups 500K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict which teams will cover the spread in their matchup in each round of the college basketball tournament. If you get the most correct, you'll win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets. Even better, successfully pick the most teams to cover the spread in all 5 rounds of the tournament to win a share of $500K in bonus bets. Think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM to make your picks to win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets per round. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days.
Presented by Robinhood.
He crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. Again, that's 800-433-8909.
Oh, it's Wednesday, 2:30. Actually, 2:32 right now. And we get to talk to the award-winning, legendary, Hall of Famer, New York Daily News columnist, best-selling author, man about town, Mike Lupica. He joins us now. Hi, Mike.
I'm sorry I won't be listening to you do the whole game tonight, Michael. That just doesn't seem right to me.
It doesn't seem right to me either, but I understand it's a business and they make money off Netflix, so I'm not going to go kicking and screaming.
So who does these games for Netflix?
It's going to be Matt Vasgersian, CC Sabathia.
Oh, really?
And there's somebody that's on the Giants side, and then Barry Bonds is going to be on the pregame show.
Now, hey, is CC going to be doing stuff for Yes this year or not?
I think he continues to resist like doing a workload of like 40 or 50 games, and we continue to ask him because he's really good on the air. But at this point, I think he's
really good. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. He's really good on the air. He presents, as they say.
Absolutely. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of this hour. Everybody said or says there's so much pressure on the Yankees. They haven't won since 2009. And I get it. I understand it's always been sold to Yankee fans, World Series or bust. But I think there's an equal amount, if not more pressure, Mike, on the Mets. They haven't won since 86. It's 40 years. They have an owner who said he's starting to get tired of it, and they have a payroll that's $375 million. How do they not have pressure?
No, Michael, I wrote a column in Sunday's Daily News and said, okay, who has more urgency, the Yankees or the Mets? And my conclusion was that it is the Mets. And what everything they have done, Michael, is because they were humbled by the way last season ended. And I pointed out in the column, the Yankees are never humbled. They lose sometimes, but you know this. They think what they're doing is right, and if you don't think so, you're wrong. And you even see it on how thin-skinned they are about this whole who's making out the lineup, which I find incredibly amusing, but like semi-thin-skinned. The Mets have more pressure. The Mets had a collapse as epic for any contender as we have ever seen from a New York City baseball team. They were 45-24, and you saw what happened to them after that. Mike, it's very odd. They crawled out of a 22-33 hole in the 24 season and became as hot as anybody after that, went to Game 6 of the NLCS. And then last year, they had an almost identical ending to their season as they were missing the playoffs. And I don't know if it's posted yet. I wrote a column this morning for the Daily News. People might be able to find it now on nydailynews.com. But my point was, not since the 96 Yankees has there been, I don't believe, a New York team that has had as much turnover in personnel as the Mets have had. Because, Mike, you remember this. In 96, they had a new first baseman. They had a new second baseman. They had a new shortstop. This kid Jeter, I don't know whatever happened to him. They had a new catcher in Joe Girardi. They had a new setup guy, some other guy. I don't know what happened to him, Rivera, okay? And so they basically turned over half of their team. The Mets have turned over even more of that, to the point where they have a new first baseman, they have a new second baseman, they have a new third baseman, they have a new right fielder, they have a new center fielder, and they technically have a new left fielder in this guy used to play for the Yankees, Soto. And so
a new ace.
And a new ace in Freddie Peralta. This is, I think people have to take a step back and realize. Now, we're going to find out if David Stearns is right about all this, Mike. But the guy did show some guts because, and we talked about this before, he not only was horrified by what he saw over the second half of last season, he clearly believes that what they did in October of 24 was a fluke that doesn't happen if Alonso doesn't take Devin Williams over the right field wall. So he has, Leon Rose, when he took over the Knicks, he began dismantling them right away and rebuilding them, okay? But he wasn't coming off a a near World Series the way Stearns is. So whether you agree, I still disagree on Alonso. I think they blew it on Diaz. But whether you agree with any of this or not, you cannot disagree on the fact that the guy has shown some guts.
So when you look at what the Mets have done, what's your biggest concern? What's the variable that you think could swing the season one way or the other? Is there a player that you're worried about, a position that you're worried about?
Yeah, Devin Williams. Mike, even with his inconsistencies early on, and even with the year he lost to the injury in the WBC, at his best, he's the greatest closer they ever had. At his best, he was as dominant in that stretch as Rivera or anybody else was. Okay, and I have to see that Devin Williams can go back to being the Devin Williams of Milwaukee, because you saw him a lot more closely than I did. And he looked like, in the old Parcells expression, like a jag, just another guy last year. He did turn things around at the end, but he now is asked to take on what, it's a closer isn't like a point guard in basketball, but sometimes it feels that way because the game is in their hands at the end. And so I have a concern about that. I have a concern about first base. After all the stuff we heard about run prevention, we got a guy at first base, at least for now, in Polanco, who's never played the position. And we got a guy at third base who I like a lot, by the way. I'll tell you what about Bo Bichette. I will always be in his corner because of the way the kid came back and so desperately wanted to be out there for the World Series that he basically played on one good leg and switched positions to get his chance at winning the World Series. So I've got some questions about the defense. But Mike, I said at the end of this column, you know, if you've noticed lately, they have brought back one of my favorite ad campaigns on television, The Most Interesting Man in the World. I love those commercials. I always love those commercials. The Mets, in a lot of ways, are the most interesting team in the world because of this roller coaster ride they have been on basically since even before Game 6 of the NLCS, because of the way the Milwaukee series ended. So they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down badly when they couldn't even get 2 games off the Marlins on the last week of the regular season when they still had a chance to make the playoffs. And now they haven't just retooled, they have rebuilt. And I'm telling you, I am fascinated to see if here's the question, Mike, that's going to be answered. Is David Stearns right or not?
Now, I believe that of the two, Mendoza, his seat is hotter. I think Stearns has been given too much power and too much money by Steve Cohen to have his seat that hot. But I think he'll fall under a lot of scrutiny if this Frankenstein monster that he built doesn't work.
Oh, 100%. No. If Mike, everybody feels an urgency to get off to a good start. The Yankees are going to feel an urgency to get off to a good start and just hold the fort until their starting pitchers come back. Okay, but I'm telling you, I've told you this story before. When Joe Torre, I think they started out, was it 1-3 or 0-3 in 1998?
1-4.
And I was guest hosting the Charlie Rose show, and I had Yogi on, and it was at that point of the season. And I said, "Do you have any, advice for Joe?" And Yogi looked at me and goes, "Yeah, tell him to win some games." And so, which Mike, by the way, turned out to be sparkling advice on Yogi's part.
They followed it. They followed it to a T.
Did Joe took it to heart? Did he not?
Yes.
So yeah, I think Aaron Boone could survive a slow start because it's been proven to this point that Aaron and Cash could both survive a nuclear attack. Okay, Carlos Mendoza does not have that sort of runway. And guess what, Mike? Neither does David Stearns. I don't care how long his contract is. Uncle Steve is going to get impatient if he doesn't see some results this year, because he's basically now said, okay, I gave you, not only have I given you all this money, I gave you a clean canvas again. And you have now thrown all this color against the canvas, and you better be right. You better be right.
Now, I'm not doing the game tonight, as you mentioned. It's on Netflix. But my family is out here in San Francisco, and I'm so looking forward to sitting in the stands next to Charlie and watch the game. To me, opening day still means something. Do you feel the same way?
100%, Michael. And I envy you being there. My sister has lived in San Francisco for a long time, and she loves that ballpark. She loves, they've had the Warriors, they've had the 49ers. It's a very good time to be a San Francisco sports fan. Oh no, opening day is it's like the ball just fell in Times Square. It's I think Tom Boswell, one of his books was once called "How Life Begins on Opening Day." I you know how much I love baseball. We talk about it all the time. It's a shared passion of both of ours. It is far and away my favorite sport. I saw on Twitter today that Pedro Martinez asked, "What's the one baseball moment that still gives you goosebumps?" And I had to think about it, but not that long, because up the coast a little bit, I happened to be in Dodger Stadium the night Kirk Gibson hit his home run. And it was, I've seen a lot of stuff since then. And Mike, I'm telling you, and you remember what that night was like, because the A's, Michael, doesn't it seem in memory that they had been leading that game for about 5 hours since Canseco's grand slam? I mean, they everybody had their columns written And all of a sudden, here it comes, and there it goes, and it's. I can remember I was down on the field after the game, and Tom Brokaw, for some reason, was sitting right behind the third base dugout, and he waved me over, and he said, "I never thought I would see a real life moment like the Natural, but we just did." And it was no baseball. Mike, you know this because you're asked to Yankee fans see the game, not only on their screens, but through your eyes and your voice, okay? And baseball still frames those moments better than any other sport. That's just in my opinion. And for all this stuff about it's a dying sport, no, it's not. They're going to open the gates tonight in San Francisco, and then they're going to open all over the sport, and then a gazillion people are going to file through the turnstiles from now almost to the 1st of November to watch this game. I actually think baseball, there's a lot we don't like about it. We're staring at Armageddon in the fall. I get all that, okay? But right now, people ought to appreciate what an unbelievable time it is to be a baseball fan, and not just because of Judge and Ohtani, though that's a pretty good place to start the conversation.
Now, Jack Curry, who's doing the pregame show on Yes today with Bob, he's listening, and he said, after the slow start in 98, when you see these numbers, Mike, he said over the next 80 games for the Yankees, they were 64-16. Think about that. So they listen to Yogi.
It was tell them to win some games. Michael, I could see him. I could hear him. It was pure Yogi because, as always, there was great wisdom and simplicity.
Absolutely. Enjoy the game tonight, Michael, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Hey, you enjoy it. Sit next to your boy. That's a pretty good night right there, Michael.
Yeah, I would agree. Thank you, Mike. Be good.
Okay, pal.
Hey, this baseball season, FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. Betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. Make your choice, and the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel is the home of home runs. Maybe you're confident about Aaron Judge's home run total. Think he's going to be over 50? Will Bo Bichette lead the league in hits? And he can hit, by the way. How many home runs will Juan Soto hit? Will the Mets or the Yankees get off to a fast start? So, ready to play your game? Head to FanDuel.com/local to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Make cancer screening a part of your annual healthcare routine. New York Presbyterian offers a full range of cancer screenings, including lung, cervical, prostate, colorectal, breast, and more. Regular cancer screenings could save your life by detecting cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester. Learn more at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
New York Knicks fans, here's a total slam dunk. For a limited time, get Verizon Fios and a line of mobile for just $64.99 a month with AutoPay. Get Fios 300 megabit per second for $20 a month. And unlimited welcome for $45 a month plus taxes and fees when you bring your own phone. Visit a Verizon store today to learn more. For new Fios internet and mobile customers, discounts applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. Additional terms apply. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
It feels like everyone's sick right now. You aren't imagining it. Doctors say this is the worst cold and flu season in 25 years, and it's not over. I was just traveling. It was like everyone around me was coughing, sneezing, and sick. I can't afford to get sick, and I doubt you can either. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. Having a medical emergency kit is like having urgent care and pharmacy right in your home. It includes essential prescriptions like generic Z-Pak to help you get well faster, plus important antibiotics to treat pneumonia, strep throat, sinus and ear infections, nausea, even UTIs, and many more common and serious illnesses. It's your kit the moment you need it. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's genius. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes, and it's shipped shipped to your door. I can save you $45 when you use my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. Again, save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in the March Matchups 500K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict which teams will cover the spread in their matchup in each round of the college basketball tournament. If you get the most correct, you'll win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets. Even better, successfully pick the most teams to cover the spread in all 5 rounds of the tournament to win a share of $500K in bonus bets. Think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM to make your picks to win a share of $100,000 in bonus bets per round. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days.
Rich Eisen here. For small businesses, every hire counts, and so does your time. Hiring can quickly become overwhelming, from sorting applications to figuring out who's truly qualified. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps. It streamlines the process so you can focus on connecting with the right candidates, not managing the noise. Hire right the first time. Post your job and get $100 off towards your job post at linkedin.com/Eisen. That's linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com, because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
Join DiPietro and Rothenberg Thursday, April 23rd for a special couch cast of Round 1 of the NFL Draft, presented by Calandra's Bakery. The Jets and Giants have 3 picks in the top 16, and Rick and Dave will react live as the first round unfolds. From the big decisions to the big-time drama. Catch it all in this YouTube-only exclusive, and it's all from Calandra's Bakery and your home for football talk. ESPN New York.
Welcome back to the show. We lead you to Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. That'll be at 3 o'clock. It's opening night in Major League Baseball, so looking forward to that. Yankees against the Giants, Logan Webb against Max Fried, and we'll see how that rolls. But the Knicks last night, they beat the Pelicans 121-116. It's their 7th straight win. Brunson scored 15 of the last 18 points and was involved in 17 of the last 18 points. He finished with 32. The Knicks had a good night at the free throw line, 20 of 22, and they were 14-2 on second chance points. They're in a virtual tie right now for second place in the Eastern Conference with the Celtics. Celtics have a .662 winning percentage. The Knicks are at .658. So that's very attainable for the Knicks to finish in the second spot. And that means they take on the Pistons. The earliest they could take on the Pistons, if they get through the first 2 rounds, would be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And also gives the Pistons a chance to lose one of those first 2 series, and they don't have to deal with them at all. So the Knicks shot 51.8 from the field, 39.4 from three-point land, and a good night for the Knicks overall. Let's take some phone calls before we finish it up, and let's go to Billy in Hartford. Billy.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good, Billy. How you doing?
Good. I used to call the show all the time when you were doing with the 2 other guys.
Thank you.
You were talking about PIX. I'm 64 years old, and I didn't have cable when I was growing up, so I used to go to a place called Milner's in Meriden to watch the Yankees all the time. So it was pretty cool going there to see the Yankees play, but I don't have all those streaming.
Yeah, a lot
Go
of
ahead, I'm sorry.
You know what, Bill? A lot of people don't, and I understand the angst and the disappointment. And I was like you. I mean, I lived in the Bronx. The Bronx was like the last borough that got wired for cable. So when the Yankees are on like a sports channel, that wasn't it. You know, I mean, it just didn't happen. So when they were on SportsCenter, I didn't see them. So I'd listen on the radio. I mean, all the games are on the radio, so you have that to fall back on. But you want to watch your team as well. Let's go to Eric in Wayne. Eric.
Hey, good afternoon, Michael.
Hey, Eric. What's going on?
I have to say, I've been listening to you, since Frank Messer was on the radio. That's a long time ago. Yeah. I originally became a baseball fan in the 1969 World Series with the Orioles and Mets. I was the pain in the neck kid that didn't want to root for the Mets, and I've been a long-term Oriole fan since then, and I heard you picked them second this year. I guess you like some of the improvements. Really good. Yeah, I think they did a really nice job rebuilding their starting staff.
The one thing I think that's missing a bit, Eric, is I wanted them. I thought they needed the ace, and they didn't get the ace. I mean, I love Chris Bassett. I really do. And Shane Baz has the potential to be good. But they didn't get that top-flight guy, the one in the free agent market where they were going to spend a great deal of money or trade for that guy either. That's the one thing I think was missing. But they have improved their starting staff tremendously. So much so that Dean Kramer is going to start the season at AAA. And he's been up with the Orioles, 3 or 4 years now. That's how much they've improved. And I think that all the position players that had such a tough year last year, I think they're going to be better. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Adley Rutschman, though. He's taken a downturn as being one of the faces of baseball, and he has really, really struggled a lot. And you wonder at what point do they turn to Basayo and make him the catcher. So, you know the deal. Yankees against the Giants. That opens up Major League Baseball tonight. Tomorrow, it's going to be the Mets against the Pirates. And both games will not be broadcasted by your local broadcasters, at least on the TV side. But Yes Network will have its fingerprint on tonight. We have the pregame show from 7 to 8. Bob and Jack in the studio. I'll be with Meredith on the field. Then we have a postgame show after that. So looking forward to it. And the game is going to be on Netflix. And then tomorrow, NBC, it's going to be the Mets against the Pirates. And oddly enough, the play-by-play guy for both games, Matt Vasgersian, he's going to have to get on a red eye tonight after the game just to get the Citi Field to be able to broadcast that game tomorrow afternoon. Hope you enjoy the game. We'll talk about it a lot tomorrow, review what went on, and we'll be back again at 1. Coming up in a moment, it's Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. And in the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the game. Talk to you tomorrow at 1.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like